Session 10 reading entitled Working the Democratic System. Francis Moore Lappé, author of the famous Diet for a Small Planet, and Paul Martin Dubois wrote a descriptive flyer pointing out how we think of democracy as something we have, something we fight for or achieve. However, they say, democracy is not what we have, but what we do. Democracy is, quote, a way of life built on the capacities of ordinary citizens and drawing forth our passion and participation, unquote. The reduction of violence requires our passion and participation. What can one person do? No one can do everything, but everyone can do something. Outstanding examples pointed out by a War Resisters League flyer include Mary Dryer's preaching of Quakerism on the Boston Commons, whose resulting hanging shamed the Massachusetts Bay and other colonies into adapting greater religious tolerance. Or Henry David Thoreau's one night in jail protesting the Mexican War and his resulting book entitled On Civil Disobedience, inspiring leaders as widely apart as Leo Tolstoy in Russia and Mohandas Gandhi in India, and through them, Martin Luther King Jr. in the United States. It was Rosa Parks' persistence in sitting in the whites-only section of a Montgomery bus which triggered the whole civil rights movement and first involved Martin Luther King Jr. We may never even know how our statements or acts may spread and inspire or motivate others to action. Have you heard the story of the 100th monkey? It is the title of a small book authored by Ken Keyes. The book tells of some research done with monkeys on islands near Japan. Apparently, these monkeys liked sweet potatoes. The researchers buried some in the sands along the shore. Initially, the monkeys dug them up and ate them, sand and all. Then the researchers showed just one monkey how to wash off the sand. That monkey showed others, and the teaching spread as both the cleaning method and the improved taste were learned. Suddenly, according to the report, when the 100th monkey learned and began the washing process, all of the monkeys on the island followed suit. The new approach even spread to other islands. What this account proposes is that maybe you will be the 100th monkey in the process of changing our society and world. Everyone, as we said, can do something. One person alone can do little to reduce social violence. However, when enough individual efforts join, things will change. The challenge is to alter our culture from a violent, often dangerous, competitive one to a more caring one. A culture is made up of the attitudes, values, behaviors, etc. of the individuals who make up that culture. As the change total patterns grow from person to person, our goals will be achieved. Violence can be reduced. One other caveat is necessary as we discuss working the democratic system. We must be sophisticated enough to know quite a bit about that system. For instance, we have suggested making the most out of elections. Much more than just voting or working for the candidate of your choice is required. For instance, unless we understand the existing methods of campaign financing, just supporting a good candidate of our choice, which is a worthwhile action, still cannot be enough, where offices in reality go to the highest bidder. What we think is an election too often can become an auction. We are talking here about working on community, national, and global problems. How can we affect them? Why should one? There are so many problems and concerns in daily life. But if the status quo is what satisfies the majority, why should I speak out? John Stuart Mill's essay on liberty says it is important because if the idea is no good, no one else will pay attention. But if it is good and speaking out is denied, then the action will be deprived of that good idea which might well take root and grow to the benefit of all. Furthermore, everyone should be included. Exclusion, inattentiveness to anyone is a major form of violence, as we have learned. Again, it is so hard to change government. Again, if it is so hard to change government, that the normal actions of talking, letter writing, lobbying, working in campaigns fail, what else can be done? Direct nonviolence may have to be invoked. Marches, demonstrations, petitions, boycotts, even civil disobedience. But are these not un-American? Why do we think they would ever work? Well, very little social improvement has taken place in United States history through normal legislative channels. People worked on anti-slavery actions for decades. Women seeking the right to vote marched, lay down in the streets, went to prisons. Labor organizations demonstrated, leafleted, occupied factories where they just sat down. The list is long. The successes are many. Civil disobedience played a prominent role. These actions, rather than being un-American, are guaranteed by the United States Constitution in our Bill of Rights. They really are, quote, as American as motherhood and apple pie, unquote, as the saying goes. But knowing not just what to do, but how to do it, we can change our society. We can reduce violence. We can create a more caring nation. It is never too soon to get started.